Welcome to the Four Borders podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to the Fore podcast. You're here. You made it. Thanks so much. If you haven't already, then please like and subscribe. That'd be great and help us grow the channel. Dave, in the spirit of Thanksgiving, we're going to talk about what every team is and every food, right? Like every Thanksgiving food, how that corresponds to every team. Is that what you want to do?
Well, you're wrong, Alex. We're talking about the top 4 NFL mascots you would have for Thanksgiving dinner. Okay, that's what we're talking about today.
Thanks for giving me a heads up, Dave. Per usual, always just springing these things on me. Huge jerk. Okay,
All
I got
right.
to talk about mascots, huh? So what is it? It's if you were to sit down at the Thanksgiving table, then what mascot would be the yummiest? Is that basically what it is?
Yeah, which would be something you could actually consume for Thanksgiving, and which of the 32 mascots legally and socially get away with serving for Thanksgiving dinner?
Okay, well, I guess without further ado, you want to kick it off? What's the fourth one? What are we talking about here?
Well, I would say the 4th one is probably the Miami Dolphins because you can't really find dolphin on a menu. A lot of people think it's is it mahi, right? It's not the same thing. I haven't found any recipe for actual dolphin, but I know people eat it. If you had to bring a dolphin to Thanksgiving dinner, you might get a few like side eyes, but there's really, if you think about it, not too many alternatives. So I would say the 4th option is the Miami Dolphins. Now, would you eat a dolphin, Alex?
Hell no, I would definitely not eat a dolphin, especially because they're really smart. And aren't they like one of the only ones who they'll like kill within their pod and then they'll like mess around and like play games with the dead body? Like they're smart and sick like humans are. So I feel like there'd be some really bad karma eating a dolphin.
Yeah, so dolphins are extremely intelligent, but they are one of the few animals that kill for sport. So I feel like that's kind of a wash there.
That's true. So maybe there's more kind of what you're saying is like there's some leeway there. So if there
Yeah.
were one animal to eat, then it might be the dolphin in this scenario, I guess. Yeah.
I feel like it'd be a fair fight if you hunted a dolphin and you were able to get it. I feel like that makes it almost like, well, it's not like just a totally defenseless creature, I don't think. But if you think about it, once we get through all top 4 mascots that you could eat, if someone thinks that like, hey, you should have replaced the dolphin with something else, we'd love to hear it because really it's harder than you'd think to come up with 4 edible mascots.
Yeah, this is hard. So back off. We're doing our best.
Come on, PETA, give us a shot here.
Yeah, give us a shot. Lay off. Something else really quickly on the dolphin topic still. I think there's like folklore from ancient civilizations that like dolphins traveled here in like spaceships. So that they're like extraterrestrial. I swear to God, if you look it up, you can find some cool folklore about it. I don't know about, obviously I can't prove any of this. I'm not sure if anybody can, but it's pretty cool if you do a quick Google search on it. Dave, let's move to 3. What you got for the third spot here?
3rd spot is the Indianapolis Colts.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah.
if you think about edible mascots, pickings are a little slim. It was between the Broncos and the Colts. I chose the Colts because that typically means that it's going to be a younger horse, and I feel like the meat would be a little bit more tender that way. And it is currently illegal to consume horse meat in the United States. However, in other countries, it's totally fine. I wouldn't be excited about eating a horse or eating horse meat, but if the horse was raised for consumption, I think that makes it okay.
I remember there was some story over in Europe about 10 years ago where the meat that they were selling in the grocery stores was not, I want to say cow, but there was actually horse in there and people were eating it. And apparently they didn't really know the difference. So maybe horse tastes okay after all. Oh,
I think it probably tastes fine. I've never had horse meat. I would imagine once you get past the mental aspect of it that you're eating a horse, I think people would be fine. I do remember as a kid, I was told that White Castle served horse meat, and that ruined it for
oh,
me. I didn't eat White Castle for like 10 years because even though I was pretty sure it was just a rumor, mentally I couldn't do it. I wouldn't eat White Castle for like 10 years after hearing that. Even though it was a rumor, but I know in other countries eating horse meat is not taboo whatsoever. I wouldn't want to do it, But if I had to, and you had to choose 4 mascots that were edible, I would say the Colts qualify.
And the food that they serve at White Castle, the meat they use is probably worse than horse meat anyway. Who knows what kind of meat it is? So I mean, I wouldn't have been too concerned. And when you're a kid, obviously eating a horse probably is a little taboo. But let's move on to the second one. What do you got for number two here, Dave?
Number 2 is the Chicago Bears. So I'm pretty sure it's a grizzly bear, not a black bear. And you can eat grizzly bear, although it's extremely rare. I've never had bear meat, but I think if you get the right kind of grizzly bear that's been mainly eating berries, it's probably going to be okay. I did some research on this. If a bear's diet consists mainly of salmon, you would think that's pretty good, but apparently it makes the meat a little rancid. So, um, given the right kind of diet, I think a grizzly bear would be palatable, and I
Mhm.
think people would they wouldn't feel too bad about eating grizzly bear meat at the Thanksgiving dinner table.
Yeah, maybe the rule of thumb should be like, morality of eating something. If something is out there able to kill you, then maybe you should be okay killing it. Like a chicken's not going to kill you, but still, we eat a lot of chicken.
That's exactly right. Chickens, I don't think people think too much of them. It's so like widely acceptable to eat a chicken, and maybe you think, oh, it's just a little bird brain or whatever. But a grizzly bear, I think, is intelligent, but it could also definitely mess you up. So maybe people think that's fair game. I get it, fair game.
I got it.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like Chicago Bear, that's like a perfect second option there.
Okay. Well, good enough. Let's move on to the top food at the Thanksgiving table. If we could eat one of the mascots, what would it be?
To me, this kind of seemed like a no-brainer, and I'll see if people agree. But Buffalo Bills, that's one of the actual like only foods I can think of, mascot food that is like somewhat widely acceptable. So if somebody served a buffalo at Thanksgiving dinner, I don't think anybody would bat an eye. So I got to say they got to be the number one overall pick there.
Dave, I got some bad news for you. Buffalo, the producers just told me this in my ear that the Buffalo is the name of the city, not the mascot. So the city of Buffalo and the Bill is their mascot. So I'm not sure what kind of sources you're working from right here, but I don't know how we can resolve this. But what is a Bill, by the way? We've already made the list, so there's no
I
going back.
I thought it was a buffalo they named Bill, maybe. Or it's the guy from Silence of the Lambs. The mascot logo for the Buffalo Bills is
A
a
Buffalo.
buffalo.
You're right.
So I understand it's a city, but it's also, I don't know what is a bill then? Is it a person?
I think you're probably right. They must have named the Buffalo Bill. There's probably no way that we could actually figure out what the true answer is to this. So we're just gonna go with that. And I think maybe we're the only ones who know. I'm sure other people know, but I don't know. What I don't. We don't. There's a lot of unknowns here. Apparently.
Yeah, I guess you bring up a great point. It is the city.
Mm,
It's not the Buffalo Buffaloes.
yeah.
So I honestly don't know. If anybody has an alternative number one edible mascot for Thanksgiving Day dinner, you can comment that. We kind of thought, could it be a Texan? I don't know if a Texan is a person who lives in Texas or if it's because the logo is a steer for the
Mm,
Texans. So I
yeah.
don't know what it actually is.
Well, we can't go back. I mean, this is the official list, and we can't do this again until next year. Should we go over some of the mascots that didn't make the list? Like, there's a panther, there's a ram. The ram might have been actually kind of edible. I don't think we have a lot of rams, kind of roaming around, so we wouldn't have known about that. There's a jet. You can't eat a jet, so that would have been a tough one. They're probably the safest one. Never would eat a lion. That's pretty sacrilegious. What about any of the birds?
You bring up a good point. So most people would think, hey, Thanksgiving birds. All the bird mascots are ones that you would not want to eat unless it's like last resort. So you got something like the Seahawk. That's not going to be a great bird to eat because of what they eat. You're probably likely to run into, some pathogens, and like the ravens, for example, that's considered like a carrion bird or trash bird. They'll eat dead animals. Then you got something like the cardinals, which that's actually a protected species. You can't eat them. I think if you had to eat a bird, I think the cardinal might be the only one. But then you got something like a falcon. Any bird of prey is not something that you want to eat. And then I think that's all the birds, right? Oh no, then you got the eagles, right? You can't eat an eagle. They're federally protected species, and they would also fall into the category of a bird of prey, which generally you don't want to consume.
Yeah, and then there's a Seahawk. Also, probably it'd be really salty. I bet got a lot of ocean water that they're
Yeah.
slurping
Yeah,
up.
the seahawk is actually an osprey, and same thing, that's a bird of prey, that's gonna be pretty gross to eat. But you did bring up a good point about the rams. I feel like the rams could crack the top 4 maybe. I've never
Mhm.
had ram meat before. I thought the rams were a truck, so that's
No,
not a.
no, that's I think it's an animal. I think the
Oh, it's an
logos
animal. Okay, that
yeah,
makes sense then.
clearly identifies it as an animal. There are a lot of human species on there, a lot of like variety of humans. There's the giants, there are saints, there are Vikings, there are 49ers, there are oh Dave, you know what I just realized? I maybe the one we should have made at least the list or like top one would have been the whatchamacallit because the Washington team is now officially called the Washington whatchamacallits. So maybe we should redo this list. What do you think?
Next year, we'll reexamine it. I don't think most people know that they are the Washington whatchamacallits. I think that's something just for our, core subscriber group. And
Gotcha.
hey, speaking of subscribers, I just want to give a quick shout out to one of our subscribers and friends that inspired this video, DMC.
Let's go.
He's the one that suggested that we do the mascots for Thanksgiving. That's DMC 713. Look him up on YouTube. Give him a follow. He does a lot of great videos on tech, lifestyle. He was a streamer. Did some video games. He's got some great content out there. So check his channel out.
Yeah, thanks so much, Dave. We appreciate you, DMC. Dave, kind of last thing before we wrap this up, we are sponsoring somebody, right? We're turning the tables. Who's the latest group that we're sponsoring here?
Yeah, so we are sponsoring StreamYard. They're not sponsoring us. We paid them money. So this is going to be a great relationship, I hope. It's going to improve audio and video quality of the podcast. Hopefully you guys notice a difference there. And shout out to StreamYard.
You're
We
welcome.
hope, yeah, we think this is going to work out pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I think that about wraps it up, Dave. Thanks for putting in that time and springing that on to me last second, of course. And we'll see y'all next time in the Farbirds podcast. See ya. Enjoy the football games. Go Lions. Let's go.